start losing my smile, and I say to myself, what's the deal? What exactly is the point? Getting all out of joint, not liking the way that I feel. Maybe I believe that it's all up to me, at the helm of this boat all alone, till some stormy detail takes the wind from my sail to remind me what I've always known. Relax and let the river flow. Let your life teach you what you need to know. Let your life lead you where you need to go. Let your life teach you what you need to know. Let your life lead you where you need to go. If you're swimming upstream, chasing a dream, make sure that it comes from the heart. If you're fighting the tide for glory and fame, you might just be working too hard. Are you winning the race? Are you swimming in place and still falling further behind? There's a current below that knows where to go, might carry you to peace of mind. Relax and let the river flow. Let your life teach you what you need to know. Let your life lead you where you need to go. Let your life teach you what you need to know. Let your life lead you where you need to go. Relax and let the river flow. Let your life teach you what you need to know. Let your life lead you where you need to go. Let your life teach you what you need to know. Let your life lead you where you need to go.
Good morning, Unity of Payson. Good morning. Thank you. That was pretty good. I'm delighted that you're here. Those of you that are with us virtually, delighted that you've joined us. Those of you who are, well, I get my tongue straightened out. Those of you who are here in person, we're delighted to be with you and share with you this morning. So I'm Rev Neal Worthington. Will you just join me for a moment as we open with prayer? God of all goodness, we are delighted to know and to feel in our soul that all things work for good. Whatever it may seem like outside, whatever the appearance may be, that's not even the half of it. Underneath that is a truth that is more fundamental, more imperative if we would live the life that we want to live. And that truth we seek to know. So bless us this morning as we consider that truth, the truth of letting it be. And we are grateful that we can learn and move forward, that we can step just a little higher in consciousness each time we join together and in our individual spiritual practice. Again, bless each who has joined us this morning. We are grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Neal, for that reminder of the truth that lies and that we can lie within it. Underneath are the everlasting arms. So welcome to Unity of Payson. Welcome again. My name is Donna. I'm your platform hostess this morning. And we're glad you're with us. If you're new to Unity of Payson, please stay after so we can do some fellowship. And also, we invite you to fill out a visitor's card if you're new in person, or if you are new online, you can go to unityofpayson.org and check our website for all of our activities and leave your contact information so you can be placed on our weekly email newsletter that comes out on Mondays and tells you all about the events of each week. So again, we warmly welcome you, and from our Unity Payson family, we say together, we love you, we bless you, we welcome you. And now it's time for our opening song by Cinnamon Twist, and guess what it is? Let It Be.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be.
Now it's time for our gratitudes. We're grateful for this technology that allows us to meet virtually and in person. And later on in the service, we'll get to see each other at our connection time. And we're grateful for all the events we continue to have during each week. And we're grateful for each of you that participates and makes us, connects us to one larger family. So thank you. It would be impossible without you. And now it's time for our mission and vision statements. And so, well, No, it's not. I'm sorry. Let's go back. We're talking about, I'm sorry, I have page 2 as page 3 on the order of service. I was like, where did the gratitudes go? Okay. Last week we had morning cafe, qigong, writers group, cards and games, and the gathering. And now I want to talk about unity is grounded in meditation and affirmative prayer, and we have trained prayer chaplains to support you. You may call or email your request to Reverend Neal, and Reverend Neal's email is on the screen, neal.unityofpayson@gmail.com. Our prayer team and Silent Unity will join you in prayer for 30 days. All prayer requests are held sacred and confidential. If you're here in person and would like prayer support today, please connect with one of our chaplains. Our chaplains typically wear a prayer stole, so you know who they are. And now, Unity of Payson's theme for May is letting go. And let's say the affirmation together, shall we? Together, I accept and allow things to be as they are. I release what is not the truth of me. Unburdened, I flourish. Today's speaker, Rev Neal Worthington, and the title of his talk is Let It Be. And now for our metaphysical moment, I'll be reading from the Daily Word. The Daily Word today is joy. I carry joy in my heart. May 1st, 2022. My many happy experiences and memories may lead me to feel joyful, but I know they're not the source of my joy. One of my divine gifts, joy, is part of my spiritual identity, as close to me as my next breath. Joy wells up and spills over within me when I bring my awareness to my spiritual nature and to my oneness with all good and all life. It's an attitude I hold in mind and a feeling in my heart. The happiness I feel depends on my allowing my inner wellspring of joy to come forth. I nurture my joy by maintaining a regular prayer practice that enhances my awareness of God, and also by making time for the things that make me happy. I go into the world grateful for the joy that resides within me, my gift to share with others. Isaiah 55:12, for you shall go out in joy and be led back in peace. Ah, what a relief it is to know that joy doesn't depend on anything outside of me. That joy is as close or closer than my next breath. Whenever I bring my awareness to my spiritual nature. So let's do that. Let's bring our awareness to our spiritual nature right now, right here, with our next breath. And let's say to ourselves, I am, and I am grateful. And so it is. Now it's time for our mission and vision statements. Let's say our mission together. And I'd like to hear from Unia Payson people. Together, we are a welcoming and open-hearted community, inspiring each other to live in love, joy, and service. Our vision statement: we enrich our world through spirit-centered service, positive human connections, and stewardship of all creation. Okay, so now our speaker, Rev Neal Worthington, will share his message with us.
Don't you just love the creative process? The ability to take something that's comes from somewhere inside of you and express it. And that can be in a million ways. I do love that creative process, and I love the works of art that are produced from that. There was a work of art that I want to just share with you a little bit to start with. A work of art that is based on the inspiration of a dream and Shakespeare. Anybody got it yet? Well, it's something we've already heard this morning. Paul McCartney wrote the song Let It Be. And the backstory on that is that at a time when he was particularly troubled, he had a dream. In a restless sleep, he saw his mother coming to him, and his mother told him, everything will be all right. Let it be. That reminded him of his love for Shakespeare as a student. And his love led him to Hamlet, of course. And the words in Hamlet, let it be. So that's the backstory. What happened then was that Paul wrote the song inspired by his life and his experience, and got ready to record it with the Beatles, but it was a bit of a troubling time for the Beatles. And somebody else produced the song and released it first. Anybody know? Who was the first one to release Aretha? Anybody know online? Oh, I just told you, Aretha. It was Aretha Franklin. Paul and Aretha had a connection, and so he allowed her to release the song prior to the Beatles doing that. And remember some of the words that we saw or sang. I just love some of these nuggets in here that are beautiful. When I find myself in times of trouble, in my hour of darkness, when all the broken-hearted people living in the world agree there will be an answer. What a dream there. And though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. When the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me. There will be no sorrow. Let it be. So you've heard it enough times. The theme for today and the message is let it be. I've put together my thoughts into a core message that I got from this consideration. And here it is. But if you don't remember anything else, remember this one. Whatever the situation, to be free and to be and to flourish, we must let it be. Let me say that again. Whatever the situation, in order to be free and to flourish, we must let it be. So I'd like to consider a couple of things that you'll see popping up. I'm going to kind of throw a lot at you this morning, so hang in there. If you don't get everything, just take what you really get. Take it to heart. We'll talk about contrasting values. We'll talk about reconciling polarities. And we'll talk about mystery and certainty. But let me go to contrasting values, and particularly the one that we want to focus on today. And that is the value on one hand of acceptance, and on the other hand of action. Acceptance and action. Don't know if you're familiar with the work of Byron Katie, but she has a book called Loving What Is. Here's what she says, and this is a good place to start with regard to acceptance. And as you can guess, my emphasis today is going to be on that acceptance. Here's what Byron Katie had to say. Since the beginning of time, people have been trying to change the world so that they can be happy. This hasn't ever worked. Acceptance, you can see how crucial that is. Action, yeah, it's crucial, and we'll get to how we can reconcile those polarities. There's also a scripture in the Hebrew scriptures that I like, because it gives us an underpinning for all of what we're considering this morning. It comes from the story of Samuel. It goes like this, and I've paraphrased just a little bit. The divine does not see as mortals see. They look on the outward appearance, but divinity sees the heart of the matter. It's so easy to forget what resonates strongly with me, and I hope with you as well, that everything does work together for good. The appearances on the outside are a bit of an illusion sometimes. It certainly can take our vision and put it elsewhere. We don't get to that underneath truth that's there, to the heart of the matter. We're going to consider that as we talk about acceptance this morning. Then another source that I ran into as I prepared this talk is by a Buddhist psychotherapist. I don't know if those two things go together, but it sounds pretty good to me. And her name is Rachel Gordon. And here's what she said from a Buddhist perspective. So I want you to see, again, this other facet of it. Acceptance in Buddhist terms refers to our ability to stay present. When life presents us with something the ego finds painful and not pleasurable, the mind's tendency is to resist, avoid, change, or generally push against. If we don't like feeling depressed, rather than accepting that this is what's here, we engage in various strategies to try and change our feelings. Ironically, resisting a thought or feeling only makes it worse. So in order to experience and potentially change anything, we are instructed to first say yes, lean in, and simply let go of the effort and energy we invest in resisting. Say yes and lean in. Pretty hard to do, because there's a lot of situations around us that kind of make us want to resist, make us want to get on the I'm going to fix this train. There's another story that I love, and you may have heard it before. It's about a Taoist farmer. Farmer who had one small plot of land and one horse to eke out a meager existence. One day, the farmer went out and the horse was gone. The horse had run away. And his neighbors came around him and consoled him and said, "Oh, what bad luck you've had. Your horse has run away." The farmer's response was simple. Maybe. The next day, The horse returned and brought with it 3 wild horses, and now the farmer had 4. And the neighbors gathered around and they said, "What great fortune you have had." And he said, "You got it, what?"
Maybe.
Maybe, absolutely. The following day, his son went out and took one of those wild horses and said, "I'm going to break this horse, I'm going to ride this horse." And he fell and broke his leg. And the farmer responded to his neighbors, who said, "Oh, what misfortune." Maybe. Yet the next day, the farmer saw men coming toward him, obviously important men, and they were from the emperor, and they were drafting young men to serve in the military. And of course, the son with the broken leg could not be drafted because of his injury. And the neighbors gathered around and began to say, let's have a celebration. What a great thing this is. And he says, "Maybe." And you could take that story and add on layer after layer. But you get the point. Now, the Taoist farmer did not say, I'm gonna let go and be at ease with this because it's gonna give me the outcome I want. No. Taoist farmer just knew from the wisdom of his heart that letting it be was the path to freedom, the path to eventual flourishing. So you see these 2 polarities: acceptance on one side, action on the other. The tendency for me is to run over and act. I can fix this. I got a great strategy. And so I tend to move in that. I suspect some of you may be like me. You go first for the strategy. And the counsel of the sages of the ages, oh, I like that phrase, sages of the ages, is let it be. So I have 2 other polarities that I want to share with you that are alike in many ways. The second one is beingness on one hand and doingness on the other. Beingness and doingness. So you all know that we, in Unity, we speak about our existence, our reality, our true identity. We talk about being a spiritual being having a physical experience. Instead of physical being having a spiritual experience, we reverse that. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So the essential us is not physical, it's not body, it's spirit. I trust that you're at a place where you can feel the resonation of that for yourself. I am spirit. I am spirit. And so in that beingness, we spend a little bit more time in quiet, in prayer, in contemplation, reflection, in walking in nature, than we do rushing out to fix either our ills, our sense of dis-ease, or that of somebody else. So there we have it. Beingness and doingness. Spirit and body, or spirit and physicality. 2 contrasting values. And of course, this morning, we're focusing on these over here, that beingness, along with the awareness that we were talking about earlier when we accept. Then one further thing that we have that I like, another polarity that I'd like to speak of, is the polarity of inner and outer. Seemingly opposite, but they are contrasting values which have their great benefit in the reconciliation of the 2, inner and outer. Of course, as I spoke a minute ago, that time that we spend in the inner life is important and sometimes often neglected, because we get so involved in what we're doing out here, the cause that we're committed to, the change that we want to make in our community, in our family, in our nation. We're committed to that. But we bypass just a little bit the inner thing, knowing that, as we often say in unity, that everything begins in consciousness on the inside. It's not out there someplace, it's on the inside. So we do that work in consciousness. It's different for each one of you. Each one of you has a special road to follow. You have a unique identity, but yet you're a part of that oneness that we are. And so that time in the inner world, in the inner life, is critical. It's also the place where we connect with divinity, where we know that we are divine. We are not only physical, we are not only human, we are divine. We are fully human, but also fully divine. So that inner life is the place where we know that, where when we give our thought to that, where we incorporate it into our being, where it becomes part of our life instead of just a concept. Remember our core message, what we said. Whatever the situation, and all of these polarities relate to this, in order to be free and to flourish, we have to let it be. So if you notice these polarities that I spoke about, they kind of fall into two categories. On this side, they're kind of hard to grab a hold of. On this side, they're firm, and I can feel it. I can make it. I know what it is. They fall into the category of mystery and certainty. Columnist in our local newspaper, The Roundup, wrote a column not long ago and talked about certainty and how somebody has to be certain. Well, I suggest that we won't go very far on our spiritual journey if we neglect mystery. So I challenge us to that. I'd like to try to make some sense out of this and use and Ed, if you can pass out the handouts that I have here, and if you can put up that slide, Tom, we'll do it. I've created, not original to me, Dr. Barry Johnson has done some wonderful fundamental work with regard to polarities and polarity reconciliation. And this is a polarity map. And I've labeled it, because this is our first polarity that we discussed, as acceptance polarity map, an acceptance polarity map. I hope I remember it, Ed. You don't have to give me one. Thank you. So notice this map. I'm going to turn a little bit and look at it so I can describe it to you. You notice acceptance on the left. And you who are online see that as well. I might just mention, if you want to take this home with you as a handout, if you're able to print your screen, you can take that home right away. If you can't do that and you don't have that figured out, email me or put a message on our website and say, I want that polarity map, and we'll get it to you. Acceptance on the left, and you notice the big infinity signal, a symbol without end that keeps going. And on the right side is action. These are the two polarities. And though they are contrasting, if we take one of those polarities and emphasize it to the exclusion of the others, we lose the whole thing. So let's start. You see on the top, hopeful, or we might say positive, and on the bottom, fearful, or we might say negative. Let's start here on the action side. And you see the little arrows. I'm not very good at making graphics, but I hope this will serve. At the bottom of this in action, maybe we've burned ourselves out. Maybe we've tried something over and over again. We've just knocked our head against a brick wall. And so action has its very negative and inevitably fearful side. But as we move through that back to that balance point at the nexus of the two, we move into the hopeful side, the positive side of acceptance. And that's where we're really looking to go today, into that acceptance and that ability to let it be. And then, if we were, now I know you'd never do this, but if you were to stay too long in that acceptance thing, you'd come down and you would find that you're on the underside, the fearful side of acceptance. You no longer look to be participant in action. We're not emphasizing this today, but I want you to get the flow of it. We no longer look to action, we just kind of accept. It's like, what the heck? I can't do anything about it. And so we stay there in that negative place until we're able to rise through that and move to action, wherein we can, through creative means, put together action items that we can work with. And then we're back, completing the cycle. So you got that. Action has a negative point. You rise to the acceptance, on the acceptance of, on the polarity of acceptance. It's just very hopeful and positive. But if we stay there too long, we end up being down again. But we'll complete this cycle endless times during our life. So I suggest that today, because our theme is let it be, there may be some of you that have got that acceptance thing all figured out. I hope you have. But I suspect that a lot of you have some work to do there. I know I do. As we are able to move through this again and again, we get to that place of freedom. We get to that place where we can flourish because we're able to let it be. Another time we'll talk about the action. Today, we're talking about let it be. You remember again, let's go back to where we started. The song Let It Be by Paul McCartney. It uses the phrase speaking words of wisdom, because it's talking about the dream. I've changed it a little bit, hearing words of wisdom. Of course, that comes in the inner life. Remember too that there is still a light that shines on me. There's hopefulness, there's positivity, there's a future, there's a better tomorrow. And then that joy that Donna spoke about in the daily word. I wake up to the sound of music. Let it be. So that's what I hope you'll take with you this morning. And I close with the words of the poet Edna St. Vincent Millay. Some words that we use often here at Unity of Payson. I guess they're not original to us. And this is what she says in the poem. So it is, and so it will be, or so it has been, time out of mind, and so it is.
So we are going to prepare for meditation now, and we're going to listen to our meditation song, A Change in Me.
There's been a change in me, a kind of moving on. Though what I used to be, I still depend upon. For now I realize that good can come from bad. That may not make me wise, but oh, it makes me glad, and my childhood dreams, but I don't mind. For now I love the world I see. No change of heart, a change in me. For in my dark despair, I slowly understood my perfect world out there had disappeared for good. But in its place I feel a truer life begin, and it's so good and real. It must come from within, and I never thought I'd leave behind my childhood dreams, but I don't mind. I'm where and who I want to be. No change of heart, a change in me. No change of heart, a change in me.
So now we come to a time to let some of this sink in, seep into our souls. So let's take a moment to still our bodies, yes. To still our minds. Let all of the thoughts of past and future drift away. And to still our spirit, to be receptive to hear. And as we do, close your eyes, ground yourself, and be here now. And go on a little journey with me, a journey of letting it be. In your mind's eye, see yourself walking down a long, well-lit hall, high ceilings, bookshelves from floor to ceiling. And on those shelves, yes, some books, but also some plans and some strategies and some pursuits, some activism. And see them clearly, yourself. What's true for you? Look for a moment. Look on one side, then look on another. And take just a little time for self-assessment, self-observation. Look at that action that you engage in. Bless it, but let's not end the journey here. Let's move on. We go through a wide door and find ourselves in a huge bubble. The atmosphere is invigorating. The energy is just pulsing, pulsing, and it quietly connects with our own energy. And we, as we connect, become more and more like that beautiful, glorious, divine energy. Suddenly we feel free. We feel like we're ready to just go to new heights, to shoot up, to evolve, to move higher. And we exult in that feeling. We sit there in silence. You're in that bubble, but it also feels like that bubble is inside of us. As we sit there, we take the truth that we consider today. Let it be. And in the silence, we know exactly how that relates to us. Take a moment in silence and let it be. And as we do, we feel full. We feel like we can dream. We feel like we connect with knowing. We're inspired. So we take that phrase, let it be, to our heart, to be expressed in our life, to free us, to let us move forward with new strength, new vigor, new imagination. We are grateful. And now we leave this place, bringing back with us all that we've experienced. And we come back to an awareness of this time and this place. We wiggle our fingers, we wiggle our toes, we breathe deeply, we open our eyes. We are grateful. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Neal, for your message and for the time for us to reflect. It's what I really like about unity is that we get to practice what we preach. We get to experience what we dream about. So now it is time to share our gifts and offerings. Unity of Payson appreciates your gifts to support this community and this ministry. These gifts go out into the larger community as well. As you listen to the offering song, which will be Spirit's Hymn, you'll have time to make a contribution. The offering basket will be passed in person, And if you're attending virtually, the information for giving is on the slide at unityofpayson.org, donate support button. So please bring your attention to your gifts at this time. And let's call to mind our heart's desire. And together, let us affirm, freely we give, and freely we receive. And for this we are grateful, and so it is.
In spirit's love, my life is found, my breath, my light, my strength, my all. In perfect peace, on solid ground, I'll walk this world unharmed, unbound. Though tears draw near, I'm never far from spirit's mind, from spirit's heart. My comforter, my mighty tower, in spirit's love, my life is found. In spirit's eyes, I am whole, in flesh and bone, in mind and soul, unblemished in sweet holy light. I am God's and God is mine. There is no force that can divide the bond between my God and I wear this birthright like a crown. In spirit's love, my life is found. In spirit's world, I stand amazed at what almighty power creates in every hue and every size. So it is, and so am I. I'll chart my life upon the waves of miracles seen every day. My ship will never run aground. In spirit's love, my life is found. In spirit's love, my life is found.
Oh, what beautiful music. We're so grateful to have Jennifer and Anne and Jennifer's beautiful voice enriching our service. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Anne. And now it's time for the dedication of our offering. We're grateful for these gifts. We're grateful for the givers. We bless the gifts and we bless the givers. And let's say together, divine love
Through
through
us,
us
blesses
blesses
and
and
multiplies
multiplies all
all
that
that
we
we
have,
have,
all
all
that
that
we
we
give,
receive,
and
and
all that we
all that we
receive.
receive. We
We
are
are
abundantly
abundantly
prosperous.
prosperous, and
We
we
give
give
thanks.
thanks. And so it is. And so we let it be.
So we want to take just a moment, if we can drop the slideshow for a minute, and we'll put it on the gallery view here. I'd like to recognize everybody that's here today, both virtually, and you can see, if you're here virtually and you can put on your camera, that's great, because then you get to see your face as well. So I'm grateful to Teresa, Kathy, of course, Kathy Hicken, Donna, our platform, and my wife, platform assistant, and Elizabeth and Barry from Flagstaff, Frosty from Phoenix. Well, I don't remember exactly what part of Phoenix it is, but pretty close there. Terry, our executive assistant, and Joy from Colorado. So we're spread apart in ways, but we can do that with a hybrid service. And now I'm going to ask Ed to pan the camera, and we're going to, as we go along, I'm going to, Tom and Rick there, I'm working on AV, kind of Claudette and Scott hiding over there just a little bit. Matt and Adrian, did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
Who joined us today, Betty, and then in the back, Phyllis, one of our wonderful musicians, Anne Marie, who brought some extra goodies along today, and then we have Ron in the foreground, turning a little bit more, Mary Ann in the background, and Leslie in the foreground. Welcome, everybody. I'm delighted that you're here, and we're glad we can share the people that are online with you here, and you here can see, well, you know what I'm saying. We can kind of connect.
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
delighted, and thank you, Ed. And
I do want to say one thing, and I want to interrupt. Kay Butler was here from Alabama up until about 5 minutes ago.
We don't want to just include anybody who's from the far regions, but we love having, and Kay's a wonderful member of our community, but coming to us from Alabama.
Thank you for
anything-
doing the panning. That was wonderful that we got to actually see who is there. Thank you, Neil. I've been longing to see who's on your side. So thank you.
We're trying to do that. We're trying to do that. We're working.
I'm delighted.
We're a little bit, we try new things all the time. And thanks again to our AV people and to Terry that prepares the order of service. We have wonderful support in all of this. I'm going to hand it back over to Donna for anything she may have, anything come up in the chat, and then some announcements.
Yes, somebody in the chat said that your message hit home. So I wanted you to know that, Reverend Neal. Also, next Sunday's speaker is Reverend Neal. The theme continues for May is letting go. And again, that affirmation, I accept and allow things to be as they are. I release what is not the truth of me. Unburdened, I flourish. So I'll share a few announcements. Please check the Monday email newsletter for more detail. All meetings are on Zoom unless otherwise noticed, and love offerings are appreciated. As I said in the beginning, our regular meetings, our weekly events, our morning cafe, 9:30 Monday through Saturday, Qigong and Tai Chi on Sundays and Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. on Zoom, cards and games at K's every Thursday at 1, The Gathering at K's every Sunday at 1, and organic gardening at Shanti Olmsted. Contact Ram to participate. So we do have a Course in Miracles discussion led by Reverend Neal this Tuesday, 6 to 7:30, online or phone. And that is well attended, first and third Tuesdays of each month. And we also have a PS from Reverend Neal.
Just a word. The gathering, which used to happen on Saturdays, is now happening on Sunday. And because of that change in time, I just want to emphasize that it's at 1 o'clock. It's at Kay's. Go to the newsletter if you have it, or the website. Kay's phone number is there. Call her and let her know. She has limited capacity, but if you can join that, please do. Topic for today, Tom?
Are you here, Betty?
No, I'm not here.
Okay.
So
I
I'd
believe
like
it'll
to.
be toe reading.
Totally.
Toe reading. Okay, that sounds interesting. Toe reading. Okay, let's
Hopefully.
well, that's the gathering. You don't know what's going to come up at the gathering. So join if you're able to do so. Sorry for those of you virtually. This one is an in-person event. A lot of our events are virtual, and we're happy for that. So let's stand now if you're here in person, and you can stand if you're at home as well. And we're going to close with the peace song and the prayer for protection.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me, and this is the moment now. With every step I take, this is my joyous vow. I take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for being with us. If you're here in person, there's lots of goodies in the kitchen, coffee and tea. Stay a little and socialize if you can. And I'm so glad you're here today.